right next door.
Hmm.
We have T-Mobile, Verizon, and a bunch of other
But there
strip
must be
malls.
businesses around where people
Oh yeah,
stay there.
oh yeah. I mean, it was built on the bones of another hotel.
Hmm.
And then what were the front of the hotel was sold as all outlaws to build strip malls.
Hmm. We're streaming, by the way.
Okay. So my social security number is
Still on the same beta. It's going to probably get released next week.
yeah. What I'm thinking, they stopped doing the RC name
Yeah, maybe.
to kind of catch people off guard. Oh, I just clicked on the YouTube. God, I hate my voice. Yeah, when I was doing shows with Patrice, I would not do a lot of the editing, not because I couldn't, because I cringed editing myself.
That's right. You missed the big show. You'll be on the Mac show tomorrow, right?
Yep, I will be there tomorrow. I
You're
do
off
not
tomorrow?
work. Yep, I'm off until Tuesday.
Oh, wow. Part time.
Yep, part time. Yay.
What do we got? Got. Oh,
We got the master of the master of the Vision Pro.
yes, we do.
No, I don't know that much about Vision Pro, but thank you.
And the master of no pants.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That's
good.
me. I'm not wearing pants right now. Would you like to see?
No, that can be saved for only Jeff's.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a premium price.
Am I talking like a chipmunk?
No.
Nope.
I don't know what fixed it.
I don't know what causes it.
Well, it's this prompter has a digital display patch that you put on to get it to run, and that seems to mess with the audio put up. I'm not really impressed with Elgato's interface for this.
Well, that actually doesn't surprise me. For as good as Elgato's products are, their software, I feel, is lacking across the board.
Yeah. Stream Deck, especially.
Oh yeah, Stream Deck. Wow. I'm so worked up about it that I can't even use right words.
It's horrendous.
That app is just garbage.
Yeah.
It's not even a real app.
Yeah, every time I attempt to use the Stream Deck, it's sort of like I have to reteach it. It just doesn't seem to hold the settings.
Mine holds its settings fine. It's just when I went to go change something, then it's dumpster fire city.
Yep.
Just came from a nice Italian dinner with my wife at a
Nice.
restaurant.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, there were a group of sorority girls that came in and filled up a whole table.
Ooh.
And they were behind Aileen, so she couldn't see them. And she
See,
said, are they ordering anything? I said, oh yeah, it's from the rental menu.
Uh, uh, so they were drinking that much.
No, it's an Italian restaurant.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
You got to work that a few that joke takes a few steps to get to the outcome.
it took me a couple minutes, and
Yeah.
yes, I'm out of normal human socializing mode. I'm just kind of getting back into that. That one took me a minute, but well played, sir.
My sick wife got it right away.
Well, yeah, I'm not surprised. She she is sharper than I am, no doubt.
She's been around me too long.
That's right.
Whoa.
So I noticed the episode number is 3223220.
Who did that?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's like we're up to 3 million.
Where'd that
Well,
come from?
You have to say the other
Oh,
part
I see what happened.
with
It
a
carried
very
over
strong
my,
emphasis.
it carried over the lost the
So
oh,
just to be honest with all three of you, so that you probably wouldn't notice or care anyhow. It'd be like, oh, Jeff's just being Jeff. Um, I am so completely out of the news cycle for everything since last Wednesday.
yep.
I have no idea what's been going on in the world. I have no idea what's been going on in the Apple technology in general space. I am just
So
yeah.
what were the charges that put you into solitary confinement?
It
Guilty.
I yeah, it was uh, okay, so I had a jury summons that turned out to be for the mass shooting that was in Boulder in
Oh.
March 2021.
I forgot, completely forgot about it.
And so um they turns out they summoned 1,500 people for the jury pool because they
Wow.
did not want to have to start over with anything.
Oh, yeah.
And so they they were able to weed out, I'm guessing just based on the number of people I was seeing later, about 600 people before we actually started jury selection. And so they had the primary pool for selecting from, and I was in that. Then they had the overflow pool, and so there was like 150 people maybe in my group, and then the rest of them were in an overflow group in another part of the courthouse where they just had audio being streamed in from what was going on. And yeah, so I was there for the whole process, and it was down to the wire, and I'm like, there's there's so few people left in this room that there's a possibility I could end up in the official pool of 44 that they draw the 12 plus
Mhm.
4 alternates from.
Mhm.
And since I would be in that pool at the very end, the likelihood I would end up on the jury is extremely high because they haven't had time to question me much. And so I'm pretty sure with the number of people that were left, if they had kicked off just probably only two more people, my number would have come up. So that's how close to the wire it was. But I didn't get picked, and so I was dismissed.
Joy.
So as of today, I could start talking about why I became radio silent and just didn't do podcasts or anything since last week.
well, let's unsilence.
Wait, you record these?
Oh yeah, we were streaming too.
Wait till you. Nobody tell him we're on YouTube.
Oh.
Wait, what? Well, then in that case, everyone gets to see I'm not wearing pants.
I love you, Jeff.
I love
We-
you too, Kelly.
we love. There's so much love. All right, let's go
There
get
is.
started. I know Kelly's on a tight time frame here, so I want to be good with that. All right, here we go. In 5,
One.
4, 3, 2. Welcome to episode 322 of In Touch with iOS, the show that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg, and Kelly Goodmont is back on the show. How you doing, Kelly?
Hey, I'm always excited to be here.
Yes, I'm thrilled to have you here. Also thrilled to be here, Ben Raythick. How you doing, Ben?
I am doing fantastic.
I'm glad to hear that. So glad you're here. And also here is Jeff Gammett, fresh from not being in a jury. How you doing?
Well, technically, I was in a jury up to the point that I wasn't. But
So staring down the barrel of jury duty, I think, is
Yes.
how
yeah,
that's
yeah,
characterized.
and maybe poor choice of words in this.
Words for
case.
this.
Oh no, I chose them exactly.
All
that
right.
way.
Well, then,
Yeah.
then excellent word choice. I'm fine, although I am so oblivious to everything that's been happening over the past week. So I cannot wait to find out what's happening and
All right.
offer up probably completely inaccurate opinions since I'm out of the loop.
Well, we'll get you in the loop here.
Well,
Last but certainly
Jeff,
not
I feel
least,
like you should. Oh, go ahead.
as the last but not least, let's get in him in here. Marty Gencius. How you doing, Marty?
I'm doing well. Actually, tomorrow I take off for a little trip to your neck of the woods. I'll be heading to Chicago for the weekend to
Oh,
see the Yankees
nice.
beat the Cubs, unfortunately.
Let's
But
hope
I'll
not.
get to see the Cubs. Yeah.
Yeah, they've been up and down. But that's another show. But go ahead, Kelly. Do you have something to say before we
Yeah,
go
just-
start?
Jeff, don't worry about coming in completely uninformed and feeling free to let fly with an opinion, because there are so many other people who do that all the time. Not here, but you will not be alone in the I read the headline and I've decided this is what I think. Lots of that.
Oh, well, then I'm fully prepared.
Yeah.
I'll wait for Dave to read me a headline. I will form a completely inappropriate and emotional opinion, and
Love
I
it.
will not deviate.
So it's Thursday.
Yeah,
Ah.
or just Thursday.
Yeah,
Let's just
that
start it.
sounds like a Thursday to me. Yeah.
Yep. So beta is probably going to be wrapping up. We are going to talk about the Vision Pro as we always do, since we have our resident expert Marty is here, and a couple some tips. Going to talk about all kinds of good topics, as well as we'll hit on the event this crazy event that's coming up here on Monday as we record this. But let's go ahead and just go right into topics this week. For beta, we're still on the developer beta. I think it's beta 8 for iOS 18 or is it beta 9, one of the two. And then iOS 18.1 for those who have the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max for testing of AI. And kind of what are we going to expect here? I think it's kind of wrapping up as a lot of the press has been saying that is beta 8. That they're pretty much saying that is the final developer beta version, and the update was reasonably predicted. Like 17 and 16 and 15 had a total of 8 developer betas, and 12 was the last one that had at least 9. So we're staying consistent here. So timing, we'll probably think it'll get released, it'll get announced. I'm just going to go under the assumption on September 9th, which is the day of the event.
Glow
And,
time.
it's called Glow Time. Yes, Glow Time, and it's going to be interesting to
I have
see
been
where that goes. but-
misnaming that Seriously, I've been calling it blowjob. It's the glow job event.
Oh my gosh.
We're glad
All
you're
right.
back, Jeff.
Yes, we are glad
Did you
you're back.
miss me?
Yeah, that's borderline beeping with that one. Anyway, compatibility for iPhones, we're going to go all the way down to the SE second gen and the 10R, which I think is actually pretty impressive considering the 10R is getting pretty long in the tooth. They're 2017, 2018 when that iPhone came out.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool that they're going to be supporting that. Good things. We've been talking tons about features and lots of great things. Ben, what's been standing out for you with your beta as you continued on to this more or less final beta?
Well, I mean, I'm on 18.1.
For 18.1,
So yeah. But of the stuff that is still in 18.0, I have to say just the customization of the operating system.
Yeah.
I mean, you're finally able to make your iPhone your iPhone.
Yeah. Can't customize it. Marty, how about you? You've got, are you on 18.0 or 18.1?
I'm on 18.1. I guess
Okay.
beta 3 is what came up. Well, on my iPad, that's what came up today.
Right.
And then I switched on the Apple Intelligence on it and have been playing around with it a little bit. I started to play with the picture, the cleanup portion of the picture, and was impressed with it. I literally tried to remove my head from my body, and it wouldn't let me. And I kept doing it, and all it did was pixelate my face like I was in a witness protection program, but it would not remove my head. It, however, had no problem removing my arm from me. So obviously it wants to keep my head there. And I'm impressed with that. You know, we've seen it in other options with Google One Plus or whatever it's called, and Google
Yes, Google.
Photos being able to do that. But
Mhm.
you know, it looks interesting. And you know, I'm not a big photographer, but I wanted to see what it could do.
Okay. Kelly, you got any thoughts on where the beta is going and what you excited about from what you've heard? I don't know if you're running beta.
She's
I'm
so
not running
excited that her
anything yet.
voice went up to a register that only bats could hear.
Which you've seen happen in person. I will point out Jeff is speaking from
Okay, fair.
experience.
Yes.
Yeah. The thing I'm most excited about with the iOS betas is the fundamental level of customization, the thing they've had on Android forever, which is you can put your icon where you want to put it and you don't have to, start at the top left and work your way down, which I'm very pleased about. It's a thing I really wish we would had come a lot sooner. I am apparently going to have to resign myself to the fact that I will die mad about the fact that Messages is going to always be speech balloons forever, and it will never get to be a more compact view. I will never get this from Apple ever, ever, ever. Apparently, it's just going to be the way it is. And because I do not get the Pro Max, I do not measure my screen in acres. Unfortunately, it means that this takes up more space than it takes up unnecessary space on an iPhone, a Pro model iPhone, and I find that really frustrating. But I'm looking forward to the customization. I am not looking forward to approving Zoom on a weekly basis on the Mac, which is I really
Holy
hope they
forking
fix.
shirt balls.
Well, Jeff,
It's
that's a step
monthly
up
now.
from when it was every time you launched it. There was a point where people were saying it was happening to them daily.
Oh, I think I
and-
just detached a retina, rolling my eyes back in my head.
Yeah, careful. I don't know if your insurance thinks that's going to be a pre-existing condition or not. So I apologize in advance.
Yeah.
So I'm worried about some of those things. Mostly because because I know a lot of people who dig deep into the betas, and so they're the people who fall the hardest on the sharpest edges. And so this feels overall like a really rough beta cycle. And so I'm hoping that as a result, the release will be smooth. So I'm sort of looking forward to September. I'm looking more forward to finding out um actually, and not what everybody thinks, the new hardware is going to look like. So I haven't seen anything too dramatic in the betas, in the kvetching about the betas that I've seen in the last couple of weeks. So I'm hoping that at least the biggest things have been filed, the sharpest edges have been filed down, and I'm looking forward to finding out. I do have a sacrificial test devices that I use for work. So I'm hoping to I was just getting to the point when they announced the event. I was just getting to the point where I feel like I'm far enough along in my own personal Star Trek movie rule of betas to go ahead and install something and see what the experience is actually like. So,
Yep.
yeah.
One more thing of note. I mean, again, we're going to be talking tons about iOS 18. So, and then there's lots to talk about because we want to bring focus some of our time here on predictions of the event coming up here. Apple Music is going. There's going to be some new features that are standing out here on this. And if I would go to the right place and click it properly, I would be able to tell you about it. SharePlay for all. There won't be any subscription required. You'll be able to listen to Apple Music in a shared environment. You should be able to share control of what's playing with your friends and families. Previously, SharePoint only worked for users who had their own Apple Music subscription. So now that's pretty cool.
That's very cool. I've wanted to do that in multiple instances. I know people who are Team Spotify, and I'm very much looking forward to that piece working well.
Yeah, they even say that iOS 18 also changes that now you can, when you're playing music over to HomePod, Apple TV, or any Bluetooth speaker, anyone nearby can actually edit the playlist queue, the playback queue, excuse me.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And then Apple enables this with a QR code that friends can now scan for collaborating what's playing. Very similar to what the existing feature is on CarPlay.
I was going to say, I've done that in CarPlay, and it's cool. Yeah.
The new
our
tab,
trips.
go ahead.
Our trips in the car basically are reserved for fighting, not sharing music logs. So, and I anticipate a couple hours of that going to Chicago tomorrow. So,
So music listening is a full contact sport in your house.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. The new tab replaces the browse in iOS 18 music navigation because Apple has made a name change to the main navigation tabs for the music app. What was formerly the browse tab is now renamed to new. You'll still see the same basic content, but it'll have a fresh name, better to fit its purpose on the tab. Okay. Curiously, the personalized new releases for your section before you section is still part of the home rather than new. It's an odd omission, especially when you find that that contains the most relevant assortment of new music. But who knows? I mean, a lot of new music out there, I don't think many of us probably don't listen to. So, it may not affect much. But you make listen to it, Kelly.
Yeah, I listen to the new music mix pretty regularly, and I try to make a point to do that so that the algorithm will throw something new in once in a while. So my favorites mix is usually something, and I have Apple Music friends who listen to the new music mix like constantly. So my suggestions get pretty diverse. I have a very interesting set of friends in Apple Music, and so my friends list is always a pretty aggressively random playlist to play, which is kind of fun. I love it because I like to get a very random assortment of things. So that one I think is going to be cool. I like the variety in it, and because I listen to, I think part of the reason I have known people who have not been happy with it is that they don't listen to a lot of stuff in Apple Music, and then they don't favorite things or star them or thumb up or whatever it is you do to stuff in Apple Music. I can't remember now. But if you do a bunch of that, it helps tune the recommendations better. So it's one of those things, like spend a few minutes here and there and tell it what you like and what you don't, and then you just continue to get stuff. I've discovered a few new artists in the last year or so that I really, really like, and it was a result of I put my favorites mix on shuffle and was listening to it and went, I don't think I know this song. And then it turned out to be an artist I'd never heard before, and it was great. So
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, my idea of new music is Godsmack.
Okay, with that, music haptics, a new listening experience. This is a fascinating new accessibility feature in iOS 18 called Music Haptics. It's off by default, but you can enable it in the redesigned settings app under Accessibility Music Haptics. And this is what Apple describes as what this feature does. Experience music like never before with taps, textures, and refined vibrations synchronized to the audio of millions of songs. Music Haptics plays along with Apple Music, Music Classical, Shazam, and supported third-party apps. And that's pretty interesting. I mean, for accessibility, helping folks that don't have good hearing and want to be able to still experience music. And Apple continues to excel with accessibility features, which is great. A powerful new iPad tab for music. Historically, the most of the listening through was been through your iPhone. I think most people do it that way. And this is a new iPad OS 18.1 feature. It gains a new floating tab bar design where its forthcoming software update will customize it in powerful ways, including individual playlists, playlist folders, sections like recently added and downloads, artists, albums made for you, and more. So they're giving you a little bit more flexibility on the iPad, which is great. And then finally, the more informative Play After button in the iOS 18 Music app, which is I think Apple Music has long offered a couple of options when adding music to your queue, but the Play Next and Play Last. But the latter option is being tweaked and made more informative in iOS 18. Now the Play Last button has now been retired. The Play After is more now it's retitled Play After. Okay, so we're talking some semantics here. More importantly, you'll be able to see exactly what music it will play after, which is good. I think I like that if you have a random playlist. So some nice little features that they've added to Apple Music, and I'm looking forward to playing around with that a little more.
I would love because like the app is totally functional. There's a lot you can do with it. I like tapping through the tiles on the search page. If you go to search and there's like all the little tiles underneath, there's some amazing stuff in there that never gets attention otherwise. There was a whole section that's probably still there about you could find it. I don't know if it's actually on that page, that was all about the 50th anniversary of hip hop, and it had all these amazing shows were there, like shows with different people on them, and interviews with folks who were there at the beginning, and like the classic albums from back in the day, and it was super duper cool, and I loved that. What I really, really want is a way to tell it not to pay attention to what I'm listening to right now, because during the day I listen to instrumental music. I listen to film scores because it's music I know, but it doesn't have any vocals to it. And so I can listen to that while I'm working, or I'll listen to like a plain classical station, but on the Mac, there's no Apple Music classical or whatever it is. And so I will listen to that for a while. And then for the next couple of weeks, my favorites mix is nothing but
John Williams.
Nothing but, yeah, it'll be John. Well, there's a little John Williams. It's a whole lot more the Mandalorian score and stuff from Game of Thrones.
A little bit of Bear McCreary thrown in.
A skosh, a sousson of Bear McCreary, and a whole lot of Ramin Djawadi because of Westworld. So I really wish there was a way to be like, don't pay attention right now, instead of having to like sign out and do something ridiculous, or like only listen on my phone or something like that. I find it I have been finding it frustrating because it screws up my recommendations, because yes, I like to listen to that stuff, but only then. I only like to listen to it during the day. Generally I want to listen to something I can sing along to, or something I can dance to or whatever. Like, I have very different needs the rest of the time. So I would really like if that was the thing that came to Apple Music. But I'm still waiting for speech balloons to go away in iMessage, so I think I've got a long wait for that one too.
Yep. So let's go ahead and move on to the next topic, which is the Vision Pro this week. And Marty, tell us about visit the beta 9 that just got released to developers.
Yeah, we took it a beta further and we had a beta 9, and it's always difficult to find out. Um, the standard joke in Reddit is it feels a little snappier. Everybody wants it to feel a little snappier. And I think that's just kind of subjective. It's turned into an ongoing joke. Um, what I did with the post was take a look at it, and with this article, as Mac Rumors always does, it explains everything that is coming or has come to Vision 2.0, but they never talk about what's new with the betas because it's really hard to discern that. So one of the links I put in the show notes, there is a guy who by the name of Tom Krikorian, and he is on GitHub. And what he's been doing is what I haven't been able to do, because every time a new beta comes out, the developer notes, I'd like to compare to the previous beta, but the previous beta's developer notes disappears from the site. So he's kept a look at it, and does a change log essentially on what's really new in beta. And if you post that link out to listeners, it's it's developer speak, so I can't really tell what's shifted. From a user standpoint, everybody's waiting for the big Mac uh, display kind of view that you can do. And Apple was very careful to say it'll come out sometime before the end of the year, which means probably December 29th without an announcement. But everybody's assuming it was going to come out with the full release of 2.0, but now they're saying maybe 2.1. But from the changelog, there's not a lot you can tell, or at least that I can tell, in terms of what's happened between 8 and 9. So they're coming close to the end. Last release, people were talking about how maybe one more release and then we'll get the gold mastered for it. But the beauty is, I don't think they have to tie it to any new software or hardware that is going on. Because we're not going to see anything new in terms of hardware coming up this fall with the Vision Pro.
Okay. I found this to be an interesting article. I mean, some of it I don't agree with, but will the Vision Pro live or die on Apple's own words? Spatial computer. Is it a VR headset? Is it a spatial computer? What is your thoughts, Marty? What this gentleman is saying about the Vision Pro, and do you find it to be a spatial computer?
Yeah, well, Eric and I debated this on the last show that we did for Vision Profiles this last Monday. And part of the argument was, when I think of spatial, to me, it means it has to be dimensional. So it can't be just height and width. It has to have depth. And there are a few apps that have that, and some 3D puzzles and things like that. But it's not fully spatial as a work instrument yet. Basically, we're looking at iPad apps up in the air. So my concern is they need to really push that, and developers need to start to think about, what can I do in the depth plane that will add meaning to the application that I'm preparing, particularly productivity applications, that they haven't been able to do in a two-dimensional plane. So I kind of hold that criteria when you talk about spatial computing. Eric was more in the line of, yeah, it's a spatial computing piece. What I think upsets me most about this article is a lot of it is written like in single sentence statements, like a third grader would do in a report. And hey, you might not know this, but the Apple Vision Pro costs $3,500.
Yeah, I was gonna say something about that.
There's never an article that doesn't mention the price. like it comes as a surprise to all of us at this point.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I kind of think this is a bit of a hack job, basically.
Yeah.
But I do think their spatial needs to be defined as something unique, not just floating iPad apps.
Hey, go ahead.
I
Go
agree.
ahead.
It's a fundamental. I think you have to fundamentally rethink the thing that you have because of the interaction mechanism, right? It's the same thing as having gone from a laptop from a computer, like a desktop computer, where the monitor is a thing and the keyboard is a thing and the mouse is a thing and the processor computer part is a thing. Like that was where we started. And then, however those were glued together was kind of up to whatever brand you chose. And then we got one that folded in half that you could take with you. And that was a slightly different mechanism because they built the keyboard and the pointer mechanism, whether it was a ball or a trackpad, into the bottom half of the machine, and you had to figure out how to navigate that. And then we got phones where everything had to happen on one screen, and maybe you didn't have a keyboard, or maybe there wasn't room for one, to put one digitally at the bottom of the screen and all of that. And then we got the iPad, which was a separate thing. And so every time we get one of these, and then the watch, and every time you get one of these interaction the fundamental interaction method changes, you have to rethink it. And there are companies that have been really creative about doing that for the phone, doing that for the watch, doing that for the iPad, and those are the companies that are going to really get it right on the Vision Pro as far as what the interaction is look like and what the environment is. How you open an app,
Yeah.
how you switch between them. All of that is very different between the different modes of computing that you have. And I'm sure there are indie developers out there who don't have one because of the cost. And I don't think we need to talk about it. I think it's sort of understood, if you're a one person shop and you're trying to, and you're not making enough to get by because subscriptions are highway robbery, remember, then maybe you can't spring $3,000 for a new one of those when, that $3,000 is a really powerful MacBook Pro that will do all of the day-to-day that you already need to do. So
Right.
I think as they get more prevalent and more people can get their hands on them and more people get a chance to understand, I think it's only going to improve. But right now it's very new, it's very specific. There weren't a lot of watch apps initially. There weren't a lot of iPhone apps initially. There were more than people thought maybe there would be. But as it ages and gets more prevalent and the operating system matures, I think that stuff is going to come naturally. I also didn't really get what this piece was about. It felt very much like, I need like somebody was trying to hit an article count for the day on a day when we'd covered all the iPhone rumors or something, and like I got to fill some space. So here you go. Did you know that it's this much money for an Apple Vision Pro? Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. I
So
mean, more so, I wanted to talk
think
about the spatial.
Yeah, I think it's time and age. Like this is it's a new interaction method. It's like, what happened when we all started carrying around computers in our pockets. Like we sort of had to learn what that relationship was going to be and how it was going to work and how you could operate that effectively in the environment it was in. And I think that spatial is going to be the same thing, regardless of who makes the headset that we're talking about.
Jeff, you get the final word on this.
Okay. And I'll try and keep it short so that the show keeps popping and moving fast. All right. I do have many issues with this article, but I'm going to take one sentence, two sentences out of this article, two sentences into maniacal devotion to the Pope. I'll go out and try again. Okay. Here are the two sentences. But I don't think cost is the Vision Pro's main issue. It's spatial computing. I'm going to change just a couple words in this and read it to you again and tell me how ridiculous it sounds to you. But I don't think cost is the iPad's main issue. It's tablet computing.
Okay.
When the iPad came out, we had this new computing platform, as Kelly has pointed out, and we didn't have the apps that were iPad native and that really took advantage of what you could do in that form factor for a while. It took developers a while to get there. We are looking at a new computing platform, a new type of computing device that looks similar to a lot of devices that are already on the market, but it does a different thing. the apps that will truly take advantage of spatial computing don't exist yet, and they will. And I mean, the real issue about Vision Pro, its main issue is, will the developers come? And if they do, then you will have the apps that make it a viable platform long term.
Right.
And that's what we're really looking at here. My take on this piece is it was written to hopefully drive up engagement on the site, which
Yeah.
is so this is an SEO article.
Okay. All right, let's move on because we can be overanalyzing this article like forever here. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what kind of inspired me to talk about this topic this week is the HEIC format. That's the photo format that's on the iPhone. I had a question about that this week at work. Someone was trying to figure out, okay, of course they're in the Windows world. How am I going to get this file converted on Windows, and we don't have a proper file the program to be able to convert it. So some companies do, some people don't. I mean, it could be blocking the Microsoft Store because that's where you get a lot of those apps. But this is a simple way to do it. And then here are a couple of quickest ways. Kind of give you a background of what HEIC is, just everybody can remember. This Apple introduced this in 2017. It was a default photo format for the iPhone, and it's basically a highly efficient format that literally stands for high efficiency image container. It powers live photos and Apple's excellent image post processing, and it still manages to take up less space than a JPEG does. But it can be a headache at times, which I would agree with that. But while you work with HEIC files fine when you're on an iPhone or even on a Mac for that matter, you go into the Windows world, yeah, you're asking for trouble. But there's a number of ways that you can actually convert this. Here's a couple options. Just change it. You can go into the iPhone's settings and photos and actually change the default format. If you go into settings, photos, and formats, you can switch it to most compatible. And then now when you take photos, it'll just be saved as a JPEG. That's easy peasy done. But wouldn't you like to take advantage of some of what HEIC does? Yeah, you probably would. But there's also a special settings mode that automatically converts the photos to JPEG when sharing it to Windows or a Mac, but keeps them as HEIC on the iPhone, helping some other spaces. There's another feature here within the iPhone. If you go to settings, photos, transfer to my Mac or PC, and then choose the automatic option. I didn't even know about that. So you actually can do that for us Windows, our friends on the Windows world there. Good thing about Mac is you actually can there's a Finder feature that makes it very easy to convert. So if you're on a Mac and then you can send it right over as a JPEG and then send it over to our friends on the Windows side, you could do that very easily. You could also do it on the iPhone or for the iPad for that matter, using the Files app, which allows you to be able to do that. You just choose on my iPhone location, then create a new folder, then tap and hold the empty space, then tap the paste button. The HEIC photos will now show up as JPEG in the File Photos app as opposed to pulling it out of the Photos app. There are other number of things that some other other apps that you can also do it for. One thing I was going to stand out for as far as on our friends from iMazing. iMazing has amazing converter that you can get. That I believe this is on Windows and Mac. That you can install that and be and then there's your quick way of converting your HEIC files if you had to, assuming if you work for a company they let you install it. But I think that's probably going to be a good choice here as far as that goes. Kelly, what do you think about all this crazy stuff with the photo format? I mean, I like the file formats, but also compatibilities. You're kind of battle between those two.
Yeah. What I have done in the past, I have a trick. I want to say there's a shortcut. I think you can build a shortcut to send it as a JPEG. The first question I had about the new format was, how do you pronounce that? And I still don't know. But I also I've also batch converted sometimes on my computer, but I know Windows users who haven't complained about it. So I feel like something must be updated somewhere. There must be a a mechanism to allow this to happen. I don't know what it is, unfortunately, but I haven't. I know I have Windows users who have iPhones and probably shoot in this format and haven't had any complaints about it. So but yeah, I think I have a shortcut that will let me send it as a JPEG, like if I'm just want to be extra sure that it's well received on the other end. But also I've used that utility from iMazing. Love iMazing. Hi iMazing.
Yes, I do.
They're super great. I was recommending that tool initially to people who hadn't upgraded to the version of Mac OS that could see them yet. And Mac OS was like, you would plug in your phone back when that was a thing, and Mac OS would go, I don't know what this is. What are you trying to pull, Kelly? And so, like, if you hadn't upgraded to the new version of Mac OS, and there was a gap between at that point, so it wasn't like you could officially, like, you could go to the beta if you really wanted to, but uh so I've used that utility a lot because initially there was no other way to do it on your computer if you were trying to. So it
Yep.
was super useful, and I love that it exists. It was just one of those things that made me happy that somebody had stopped and thought about it and did whipped up a quick little utility to make everybody's life a little easier. Always nice when someone does that. So
Anybody want to add anything about this?
Yes. But Ben,
Okay.
you're opening your mouth. So please go.
what you got, Ben?
Honestly, I wish Apple would have tried to push this as more of a standard. Because I mean, as much as I mean, I love these file formats. They allow my iPhone to do so much more. But I would be able to use it a lot more if a Samsung Galaxy could do this, and Facebook and all the others would be compelled to be able to upload live photos.
That
Okay.
would be great. I would love that.
There's in the comment section, Ben, there's a comment from somebody that says, surely this is telling people to go backwards in time, question mark. HEIC is also the mode that many Samsung phones now capture images. And they open
never
fine
mind.
on most Linux applications. So, yeah.
Hey.
So
at that.
Microsoft, get it in gear.
Yes. Make it default.
Yeah.
Hey, you have anything to add, Jeff? We'll move on.
Yes. Yes, I
Go for
do. Okay.
Ooh, let me get my popcorn. Hold on.
I take umbrage with this article. Let's start with the beginning. HEIC can be a headache at times. Okay, RAW can be a headache at times. PNG, JPEG, I don't care what file format you work with. How about WebP? That's a headache all the time. HEIC is no more of a headache than any other common file format for graphics that people work with today. So, okay, deep breath. Now, telling
Pick some good
people
articles this week.
change your iPhone's default format from HEIC to JPEG. Who let that stay in this article? That is never the answer. Because what you're doing is you're saying, I want to take every photograph that I have, every memory that matters to me, and make it worse before I ever see it. And that's what JPEG does, because it's a lossy compression file format. And you're getting a file format, or what you're getting out of this is an image that is degraded before you ever get to really look at it. And there's no way to fix that. And the file format is going to be bigger anyhow. Leave your iPhone set to take HEIC images so you don't lose the image quality. You're taking up less space on your phone, and then you can do with it as you please later. This would be like telling a photographer that shoots in RAW, stop shooting in RAW, switch to JPEG, so that everyone can just open your file. By the way, your picture looks weird, and and oh my God. So no, never do that.
No.
And yes, for people that don't have the ability to open an HEIC file directly, there are so many options out there, including I would just tell people, if you're not sure, just go get iMazing's free app, put it on your Mac or your PC.
Yep.
but you're going to be getting this file format not just from Apple users. Do turn on the thing for convert the image when you're sending it to a Windows user, just in case they don't have it or they don't have support for HEIC. And Kelly, yes, shortcuts. You can set up shortcuts that do this for you. Anyhow, never change the default format to JPEG. Holy forking shirtballs, people. This this is not the article I would have written.
Okay.
Thank
Duly
you
noted.
for letting me vent.
I want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat that joined us tonight on youtube.com/intouchwithios. Guy, great to see you. And there's a number of others in the chat. Or some are quiet. But we love having you here listening along and chatting with us during the show. So come check us out, youtube.com/intouchwithios. So let's go on and talk about.
Hold on. One sec.
Okay.
I just want to say the reason I'm like, I think this is I think I have a shortcut. Is because I do. And there will be a link in the show. There will be a link in the show
Okay.
notes.
Thank you.
To my friend Aaron Hockley, who is Tech Photo Guy, and he wrote an article on how to build the shortcut, and I sat down and downloaded it and stuck it on my phone so that I would have that, because it was still a point where it was hard. Not everything was going to read it correctly, so I wanted to make sure I had like a just in case for that. So that's why I have it, and David will have the link momentarily, and then I'll make sure it's in the show notes so everyone can get it. And so mostly I wanted to give a shout out to Aaron, because he was the one that helped me hook that up, because he put it on his website. So there you go.
We'll have it in our show notes. Thank you, Kelly. Appreciate that. So let's go on to the Apple event that's forthcoming here. Again, it's going to be on Monday, September 9th. The Glow Time, we're just calling it the iPhone 16 event, because it's pretty much a gimme. It's just a given, and I know Jeff have been chuckling about that name. They're going to we're going to be getting an iPhone 16. There's probably no question about that. It's pretty consistent every year. Apple does release iPhones, and so first thing is, where are you going to watch the event? Well, you can watch it in person. You won't be able to get a ticket. I can guarantee you that, because it was pretty much very exclusive press only. But it's going to be at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time, and everybody's going to be covering it. You are able to watch it on YouTube. It's live stream. Apple will be live streaming it there, live streaming the recording, and then on the Apple TV device, that's how I usually watch it. They have an app already right there. You can watch it, or on Apple's website.
Can't watch it in the event app anymore. You have to go to like the Apple
Apple TV app.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
On your Apple TV. It's really confusing when you start talking about that app itself, but that's where they have them now. I think last year at WWDC was when they changed it, but yeah, I went for the last fall. I went to the event thing, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go watch it, and it was like, no, you have to go to Apple TV now. Yeah. Okay.
Or you could do the really easy part and just go to Apple's YouTube.
Also possible.
Go to Apple's YouTube channel. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we know what's going to come out with the iPhone. They're saying the 16 Pro and the Pro Max will pretty much match up, which is great. But I like to throw it out to the panel right away. I can go through all this stuff, but we know that there's going to be more likely be an Apple Watch. AirPods are being talked about. We can dabble a little bit on the Mac Mini, possibly an iPad Mini upgrade. So I'm going to start with you, Jeff. What do you think about an iPad Mini upgrade? Is it going to happen?
It is, but not next week.
Okay.
Next week is not an iPad event. As much as people want it to be, it's also not a Mac event as much people want it to be. This is going to be an iPhone event with possibly an Apple Watch announcement and maybe upgraded AirPods, but this is an iPhone event, not an iPad event.
Okay. Any other predictions you think that anything can be off the wall that we would not expect?
The return of iPod socks.
Yeah. Right. How about you, Kelly? What are you hoping for this event?
Well, since Jeff stole my idea for the iPhone socks, I'm going to go with the iPhone Hi-Fi.
Yeah, let's bring that bad boy back.
Yeah. I agree with everything Jeff said. AirPods maybe. I think the watch is probably going to get its own thing. The watch tends to be a springtime thing. So I feel like if we get anything, maybe it'll be like Ultra 3 and that's it. And then the others will get updated later on. But it's the point of it's the iPhone, and it's been that way for a long time. So I could see AirPods maybe if the with the Pro Max we'll get AirPod Maxes updated. It's been a really long time for those. But that would be the only thing that I feel like we probably would get out of an iPhone event, is something that works really, really well with your iPhone, not something that is kind of an entity unto itself. So yeah.
Okay. Marty, what are you hoping to see this go around?
Well, I'll tell you what we won't see, a new Apple Vision Pro Lite. And if we do see an Apple Vision Pro Lite, I will eat my head on the next In Touch with iOS.
You're not going to be able to because
Wow.
you can figure out how to get it to remove earlier.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
well,
there's that.
that's kind of puts me in the safety zone, but we're not going to see, as much as people are talking, or there are a lot of chatter and hopeful, we're not going to see that. iPhone 16 Pro Max probably is what I'm looking at, because I do the annual upgrade. So I think that's a given. I'm with Jeff. I don't think they're going to take space up to do the iPad mini on this show, on this release. I'm not excited about the new AirPods. I mean, there's nothing in them. If you're an AirPod Pro 2 user, there's nothing in it that
Right.
is an advancement for me to go buy AirPods 4. So I'm less than thrilled about that. And Ultra 2, maybe Ultra 3, because there's been a lot of chatter and a lot of design chatter about that, and possibly a 10. I'm real curious if they come out with a new watch line, what kind of health apps, or if they've got the oxygen sensor back in on it, and if we're going to see some other things in terms of heart rate and um, other types of health app issues with it.
Yep.
We could just be clearing the decks though. Like come with me everyone as we go to Kelly's house of crackpot theories.
Oh, I should have brought my popcorn.
Wasn't it wasn't there a year when we got like we had the iPhone event, and then a very short time later, still before Christmas, we had a whole nother, like we had like an iPad event and then a watch event, or like we had like bang bang bang, they were clearing the decks. I know it happened, and it was like, and it was in the era of they're all videotaped events, like they're things that we presented ahead of time, and so they just dropped an event like this is happening on, it's Thursday, this is happening on Tuesday. They didn't invite anybody to it, and they just released a video, and it was like, here's the new thing, and isn't it amazing? And here's the head of that product to talk about it. The dude comes out in his white-soled shoes, tells us the thing, goes out, and da 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 da. Like, I remember this happening, and it was like right in succession, and I can't remember what the three things were, but I remember there being sort of rapid fire events. And now that Apple has the thing where they don't necessarily need an audience, and they don't have to send invites to everyone and make sure that they can all get to Cupertino in a reasonable amount of time. It feels like a thing where maybe there is a new iPad mini coming, but it's not going to be next week, and it'll be, the end of September, after they say, it'll be the end of October, right? It'll be another Halloween event where they go, guess what? Now we have all these numbers. The new Mac OS has been out for however long, and a kabillion people have upgraded, and the new phone is going gangbusters, and a bajillion people upgraded to the new version of iOS, and now we have this new thing for you. Okay, thanks, bye. Like, I could absolutely see that happening, but I don't think it's going to be like, I don't think the iPhone event has to be its own thing anymore now that Apple's got this new model of how they announce things. I don't think it's a problem at all, and I think I think it's possible there's a new mini in the works, but I don't think we're going to find out about it on next week, is my point.
All right, Ben, you're the last one here to let us know what your thoughts are on this event coming up.
With the stocks dwindling, Not only do I think we're going to see the new Mini, I think it's going to have the A18.
The iPad Mini.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
All right,
it'll do
and-
Apple
and-
Intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There it is.
Maybe. Maybe. All right. Well, we'll definitely be covering it next week, and a number of other shows will be on talking about it as well. So stay tuned to find out what the afterthoughts were of those things here too. So let's hit a couple of news stories before we wrap up this week. One news story is I absolutely love this show, Slow Horses. That's an absolutely fabulous show on Apple TV Plus. Season 4 has just started streaming today, so make sure you go check it out. I can't wait to go start
That's
watching
how
it.
out of the loop I am. Holy crap.
Yeah. So go check that out. It's going to be something really good. Other interesting story came out this week is the fact that Bluetooth 6 is just launched, and it could enhance iPhone's precision finding feature. Obviously, we're not going to get that this year because it's a new technology, and you have to have actual physical hardware in there to do that. But it's going to include 8 new features that could benefit the Find My app across Apple devices. It's introducing what's called channel sounding, a feature that will bring true distance awareness to billions of future Bluetooth devices and accessories. The organization behind Apple Bluetooth promises this technology will achieve a centimeter level accuracy over considerable distances, making it easier and quicker for users to locate lost items. I mean, Apple already offers that precision finding feature on the Find My app as it does, which I think it's cool. Every time I'm looking for my watch or my phone, and it's beeping go and shows it on the screen. So Apple could use this in the ultra wideband technologies in Univision to improve its precision finding. It's going to be unclear who's going to be what first devices will have this. It's so new. Each year, the Bluetooth folks are always looking at the latest and greatest technology. So, Kelly, do you have any thoughts on this?
I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with it. Because it seems like it's really like when there's a new standard like this, it's really slow to get adopted. So I'm hoping that the gap between the hardware needs for 6 versus 5 are not dramatic, because you can still occasionally, if you buy something that's some sort of Bluetooth device, get something that isn't even 5 like right now, even though it's 5.0 even has been the standard for a long time. So I'm hopeful that it doesn't end up being too onerous an upgrade, and so it ends up being something that lots of people end up incorporating pretty early on, so that when you go buy a Bluetooth thing once in a while, because sometimes you buy them and they're not from Apple. It would be nice if they were, if you could get all the benefits of something like Bluetooth 6 from that relatively. I don't expect it to be in a couple of weeks or anything, but it would be nice if that rolled out a lot sooner than it usually does. So that's my hope.
Well, anybody else have any thoughts on Bluetooth 6?
Well, I think it's when it comes out, it's going to be amazing. It's just Apple has a tendency to be a little bit behind on Bluetooth standards. So when it comes out, I have a feeling it's going to get named as something else.
Yep. Oh yeah, it usually does.
I
All
can
right,
see
keep
that.
in mind, this is Bluetooth, so don't set your expectations too high. There's a track record here. What I think will happen is that Apple will continue to use their own technologies for Find My, but they of course will adopt Bluetooth 6 and the features that it offers, and so they will ultimately have like maybe an offshoot of Find My. Maybe it'll be in the app for other types of devices that support Bluetooth 6. So Apple will present this as um, um, Gear Sleuth, or I don't know. Totally just pulled that out of my butt. But they'll have some other name for what they call tracking devices with Bluetooth 6.
Yep. All right. A couple of stories here. I thought this to be a funny and fascinating story. AirTags are now being used to bait to catch package thieves. Uh, AirTag owners continue to find new and valuable ways to use Apple's tracking device. It's become a commonplace to add AirTags to luggage when traveling, but now there's even a new use case emerging that may be yet proved to be popular. I mean, I don't know how we would do this if someone's sending you a package, but so what happened is a woman in California here used an AirTag to catch package thieves in her neighborhood. After dealing with several instances of the mail theft with items stolen directly from her mailbox, she decided to take a creative solution. She mailed herself a package and that contained an AirTag tracking device on the off chance that it would be taken. The bet paid off. It was stolen, and she goes to the sheriff's deputies to show, look, here's this package. They didn't know there was a package that she took this setup to do it, and multiple arrests were made, and presumably that the woman and her neighbors now have the peace of mind that the mail is safer than ever. I don't know how safe it's going to be, because how are you going to put an AirTag in the package when someone ships it to you, right? But
Mhm.
I think this is a creative way of doing it. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, it gets us to back to what the good that the AirPods can do.
AirTags.
Or yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
There's too many air. There's too much
Air
air.
search. That's going to be the Bluetooth 6 search feature that Apple has.
But this keeps your stuff safe, which is what it's supposed to do.
Right. Any other thoughts, Marty, Kelly?
I'm trying to solve that problem. How do we get major package, like if my Amazon packages that came were somehow tagged in a way that if they were taken off my porch, they could be retrieved or found, or the culprits could, you know, not leave without taking some sort of tracking device with them, it would solve a lot of problems. Like you were saying, how do you get other people to mail you AirTags to make sure things are safe?
Right,
Yeah,
especially like you said.
like someone coming up with a low cost, essentially Find My device.
Yeah. But something that couldn't be easily removed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you build one with Bluetooth 6,
Hey, I need to
There
be
you go.
pedantic for just a moment. This is not, in fact, using an AirTag as bait. This is using a mail package as bait with an
Yeah.
AirTag in it.
Mhm.
I know I am just straight up a jerk tonight, but I had to call that out.
Well, you are technically correct, which is the best kind of correct.
Thank you.
Um, I'm just gonna
You're
give
an
a shout
enabler,
out.
Kelly.
I am.
Well, we knew
Um,
that.
That's why we're friends. Um, this mostly just made me think of Mark Rober, who's the YouTube guy who made the glitter bomb
Oh my
packages
God,
and
that
likes
guy
to
is
release
awesome.
I was just
videos.
thinking about that. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. He one of his favorite movies is Home Alone, and I think it was the 2.0 glitter bomb. Like all of the stuff on the packaging is nods to the movies and to the Home Alone films, and he got Macaulay Culkin to be like a guest in the video for that one when he upgraded it. So
Nice.
every year every time he does a new glitter bomb video, I always try to go get them. Go check them out, because the way he goes about it is brilliant, and they're super great. And I love that somebody has found a really creative way to apply all kinds of engineering and science for mischief.
And
So
karma.
yeah, I mean that's just the icing on the cake.
Yep.
But it's like that is baiting. That one is
That's
totally
straight up baiting.
baiting people. Yeah, but it's pretty great, the methodology. So I'll give David a link to the show notes for the one with Macaulay Culkin in it.
Okay.
I'm porch pirates are a problem. It's happened to me a couple of times. Even with the doorbell, like it is very obvious my doorbell has a camera in it, and twice now people have walked up and taken something and walked away. Um, it was it was it was irritating, but also I was sort of glad because they weren't necessarily expensive packages. They were really boring, and so whatever it was that people walked off with, they were really disappointed. Like, it wasn't new AirPods. It wasn't anything great. It was, really dumb. And so I'm glad that I'm glad they didn't get away with anything spendy. But uh it sucks to be a thing you have to route around. But yeah, I thought it was interesting of this woman to do this, to prove the point that like, it is a problem and it is something that's happening that needs to be addressed. So
Yep.
I hope this helps draw attention to it and helps other people be able to take measures to maybe not have this happen to them, because it's not great. It's a huge hassle.
It is. All right. Well, that kind of wraps up this week. We had a lot to talk about, and we're going to have a lot more to talk about next week when you go a post review as far as where we are with the Apple event coming up on Monday here. But for now, let's go ahead and wrap up for this week. That's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, which is feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Mastodon, it's In Touch with iOS at techhangout.social. Support the show by buying me a coffee at intouchwithios.com/coffee. We'd really appreciate it. You also can become a patron of the show by going to patreon.com/intouchwithios. We have 2 tiers available to support the show. We'd really appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you're notified when we're live streaming on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/intouchwithios, where you can watch the current and past live streams as well as listen to past shows. Visit In Touch with iOS magazine on Flipboard, where many of the topics we discuss are flipped into that magazine. The link is in our show notes. You can subscribe to the show in your favorite podcatcher, including Pocket Casts, Overcast, Apple Podcasts, and many others. But better yet, just go to our website, intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us is on that website. I am Dave Ginsburg. You can find me on Mastodon at DaveG65 and Mastodon.cloud. Kelly Gamont, thank you so much for being here. Where can we find you?
Happy to be here. I'm always excited when you have me back, and I'm even more excited when I get to be on with Ben and Marty and Jeff.
Yay.
I can usually be found playing Pokemon Go. But the rest of the time you can find me over at The Incomparable, where I talk about pop culture, nerdy things I like, and that would include Deadpool and the new Furiosa movie, and sometimes The Matrix, and a wide variety of other subjects. So you can find me over at theincomparable.com. When Mike Rose and I have a chance to record another episode, you can find me on the After Show Podcast at aftershowpodcast.com, brought to you by Weather Alibi, weatheralibi.com for all your weather alibi needs. And next Tuesday, after the iPhone event, you can find me speaking at the CapMac user group meeting, where I will be talking to them about the new iPhone and everything else that gets announced at the event, which won't be anything else, as we already discussed. And yeah, the rest of the time you can find me on Mastodon, where I am verso at mastodon.social, and usually pretty chatty. So enjoy.
Yes. Thank you for being here. Jeff Gamet, thank you for being here. Glad you were able to make it this week. Where can people find you?
I'm glad I could be here too, and thanks for letting me join in. Okay, so social media. Now that I can be active on social media again, I'm still Jay Gamet everywhere. Excuse me, and I'm posting stuff on Mastodon and Instagram, and then for shows. Tuesdays, Chuck Joyner's Mac Voices Live. Thursday, here with you, Dave, on In Touch with iOS. So thank you for that. And on the British Tech Network, Thursday on the big shows, Friday on the Mac shows. Brian Chaffin and I do The Context Machine, and Patrice Brendamore and I do Retro Rewatch. And I think that's all the stuff.
All right. Thank you. And Ben Rathick, thanks you for being here. Where can people find you?
Well, in about 35 seconds, you can find me watching the Ravens and Chiefs on Peacock. On social media, you can find me at Ben Rathig. On Tuesdays, you can find me on Mac Voices Live with Chuck Joyner. On Thursday mornings, you can find me on the Big Show on the British Tech Network. My brain does not work. On Fridays, you can find me on the Mac Show on the British Tech Network. Thursday nights, you can find me here on In Touch with iOS with Dave Ginberg. And of course, with my new variable schedule, all of these appointments are week to week, depending on schedule.
Right. Thank you. And last but certainly not least, Marty Jensen, so glad you were here as well. Where can people find you?
You can find me at Gencius, Jencius at mastodon.social, and pretty much Gencius any other place except Twitter. They revoked my Russian bot card, so I'm not on Twitter anymore.
Oh, and you're just heartbroken about it, aren't you?
Yeah, I know. Me and Elon had a parting. Tuesday nights with Mac Voices, Thursday nights here, and on the Vision Profiles podcast and I guess YouTube on Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern with Eric Bolden.
All right. And thank you for listening and watching and being here. We always enjoy doing the show and providing all this great content information about Apple and everything else. We're going to have a great show next week to recap the aftermath of the Apple event. But until then, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And we'll talk again soon.
Okay, now that the show's not actually the show anymore, Marty, here's the joke that I came up with as you're talking about your departure from Twitter. I was like, yeah, me and Elon, we're like this, and this is me, and that's Elon.
Okay, peeps, I gotta get going.
Okay.
I chase off everyone like that. I'm so
Lovely
sorry.
to see you, Ben.
Yep, you too, Kelly.
See ya. Thanks, Ben.
Bye.
Yep,
Come,
it is great to
come
see you,
join
Ben.
us in the morning sometime.
I'm
No,
working on it.
It's hard.
Yeah.
I'm going to say bye,
Kelly?
to live stream. Bye, live stream.
Bye, live